first introduction to gaming, without aging myself too much, was with the Atari 2600. I remember the only thing available at that time was Pong, and then it started to become more sophisticated, and there became arcades that you were going to. And I remember it being such an amazing opportunity because it was something that my entire family would do together. And it also felt like a great opportunity where there was an equal playing field. You know, my brother and I could play against each other and we could both beat my dad. There was sort of this even playing field that came along with gaming that I remember being very satisfying and very gratifying at a young age. I became involved in the gaming industry quite accidentally, quite honestly. I was working in one division of the Walt Disney Company, and I was recruited to come over to the gaming division. Back at that time, it was called Buena Vista Games, and they were starting to publish games, and they needed someone with a very strong operational background. And while I didn't have any gaming experience, I was super excited by the opportunity to learn a new line of business and a whole new genre. So I went over and ended up becoming the director of production operations. So didn't come up through a traditional executive producer track, but because I had a very strong operational background, I was able to parlay that into understanding the production process. My current role is Senior Vice President of Studio Operations for Jam City. And what that means is that I'm responsible for running multiple studios and their portfolios from inception all the way to launch. Some days can look like digging into P&Ls and looking at strategy for a studio or a portfolio. The next day can actually look like, digging into builds, playing them, and trying to solve creative problems. My favorite thing about working in this industry is that it's ever evolving. I think our audiences, the technology that we are on, are constantly changing. And so it feels like there's always something to learn every single day when you come in. As a woman working in the gaming industry, I think there have been some challenges that I face. The most obvious one is typically when you go to meetings or being part of brainstorms, you're typically the only female in the room. And so I think that you can look at that as a challenge, or you can look at that as an opportunity, quite honestly, to be able to bring a different perspective. And in most cases, I'm able to do that, not because I'm female, but just because I'm looking at things with a different lens. Quite honestly, I think it's important to have diversity and inclusion in the gaming industry as well as any other industry, because the consumer audience that we are serving is predominantly a very diverse audience. And so the only way to really be able to create quality experiences that resonate with them is to have those perspectives represented from the development process. There are multiple ways to promote diversity and inclusion within the gaming industry. I think it's important not only for our industry, but for all industries. And one of the ways that we are doing that is making sure that when we look at recruiting, that we're going to places where we can find diverse applicants for our roles, as well as it's really important to make sure that when you have diverse employees within your organization, that you're championing them, that you're really mentoring them and helping them grow to become leaders within the organization. So we still have a lot of work to do. I think it's very important because the audiences that we are serving are diverse, and there's no better way to be able to resonate with those audiences unless you have them represented at the development table. I would consider myself a gamer. Maybe 2 years ago, I probably wouldn't have said that, but I think with the, with mobile gaming becoming so popular, I think the definition of a gamer has changed tremendously over the last 5 years. So whereas I might not have said that in the past, I definitely consider myself a gamer now. What advice would I give to somebody who wants to join this industry? I would tell them, make sure that if you can connect with someone who's in the industry, it's a great way to get a better sense of what it is day to day and what the opportunities look like. I would say if you find yourself somebody who is up for challenges, you're flexible and wanting to learn something new, this is one of the most exciting and growing industries out there. And I think there's a lot of potential in terms of what it's going to look like even 2 years, 5 years from now. So it's a very exciting time to join this industry.